On this week's episode of Pro Saints Talk, we cover a lot, including the big win against the New England Patriots, Jameis Winston's ability or inability to lead this team to a potential championship. Speaking of championships, do the Saints have a championship defense? And returning home to the Superdome in front of a full-capacity crowd for the first time in years. Check it all out now here on Pro Saints Talk.
Look at uptown people like yeah. People up in Britain like yeah. Mid-city folks like yeah. People downtown man yeah.
Where are you at, Who-Dats? Pro Saints Talk is back, celebrating the big win this past weekend after Sean Payton called Bella checkmate up in New England. And look, we just can't wait to break it all down and look forward to our return under the overpass, our return to the dome. What has burnt into ashes will rise again on that roof of the dome, baby. We got George, we got Jay. Let's break it all down. Let's get into this week's episode. George, how we living, baby?
I was living quite lavish, Ron, until I just heard you steal Jansen's joke without giving him any credit whatsoever. Bella checkmate was clearly Jay's joke. He has it written down, and then you go take it from him like Malcolm Jenkins in the second half. We can't have that kind of plagiarism on our podcast. Jay, what do you think?
I'm only good for so many of those, Ron, and you just take them right from under me. I really don't appreciate it.
Perks of kicking off the show with the monologue, man. Anytime you
right.
want to kick us off, you can.
All right. Well, I got the intro last week, so I loved it.
Yeah. So should we just lead off with that? You know, you called me out right there in the intro. You know, there's no spoilers there, huh? In the intro of last week's episode. So yeah, just want all the Rons to know that I held true on the bet, on the promise. And if you followed us on Instagram, you caught it. Maybe if you come UTO this week, you can see it live in person. But yes, the Fleur de Lis is back. All right. So huge win this past weekend. And, you know, what we build as this chess match of coaches, George, it kind of felt like Peyton had the upper hand when it came to which team was more disciplined, which team was more prepared to play. Thoughts on just high level how the team looked after the first couple of weeks where, you know, you just saw the Jekyll Hyde performance. We didn't know what to make of it, which game was the fluke. So what are your high level thoughts on how the team looked in week 3, bouncing back like we called?
Well, first and foremost, the defense played spectacularly. Lattimore and Chauncey returning makes the defense have fun again. It's like the defense goes from prey to predator when they're on the field. Lattimore used to be up and down and would get in his own head, as many cornerbacks do. Yet this contract may no longer give him those doubts, so he can just go out there clean-headed and be the best cornerback in the NFL. He's in the top form we've seen from him since his rookie season. And Passignon is the guy, like I said in the notes, he made us learn his name. Before we kept calling him by his first name. We didn't know how to pronounce his name. He has that body type that we've seen before of that freakish athletic guy. If he can just learn how to play the game like Obum Gwacham, you know, you think he's going to be good. But now he's turning into our Bobby McRae, you know, our Junior Gillette, our T-Rex, our situational pass rusher. And I love to see what he can contribute on this defense. And as far as the coaching goes, Sean Payton Belichick didn't turn the ball over, took the ball away, made special team heroics. That's the formula Bill Belichick brought all the way to multiple Super Bowls, and that's what Sean Payton gave him a taste of his own medicine, and it was beautiful. Jay, what you got?
George, just like we talked about, they ran the ball effectively. Alvin didn't have any big ones, but they handed the ball off to him a lot. And they stopped the run, and they made Mac Jones. They said, Mac Jones, you beat us. And they forced 3 turnovers on him, and that was the difference in the game. And, George, I think about your analogy last week to holding serve in tennis, and that's exactly what the Saints did on Sunday. They didn't beat themselves, which they did the week previously with all the mistakes in Carolina. They cleaned it up. They played inspired football, and that's what we wanted to see from them in response from the Carolina game that went so bad. It's kind of hard to get used to because it's a different brand of football than we're used to. It's, maybe we got a glimpse of it with Bridgewater and Taysom when they came in for Breeze when he was hurt. But this is a really, really good defense with a great secondary. Demario Davis is just playing lights out football. And, it's not necessarily pretty on offense. If you start thinking big picture, it's how far can this team go with the offense playing the way it's playing? And hopefully we continue to see the offense evolve.
Yeah, Jay, you called it there with the different brand of football. I mean, you're right. We are going to have a weird adjustment period, and I'm interested to see how the Rons take this, over the course of the season, because I think we're already seeing it play out over 3 weeks where the defense has the potential to be elite this year. And you just highlighted the secondary, which if we just reflect back to some of our preseason and off-season podcasts, we were in full-blown hit the panic button. This is a crisis mode. Bring everybody in off the street we can find to try to salvage the cornerback position. And it's just amazing how much the perception and just the reality of the situation changes when you land on a draft pick like our boy Paulson Adebo. The guy has proven very quickly here in 3 weeks that he belongs and he's up to speed and is fully capable. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bradley Roby played a whopping 2 snaps this past week, which was a head scratcher for us. I know we were saying, what the heck is going on here? But you can't really argue with the results. So yeah, the fact that Adebo is making his name known and earning that playing time is just tremendous. But yeah, circling back, the brand of football is, we've seen it here in the first couple of weeks. Jameis has yet to pass for over 150 yards. George, I guess my first question there is, can Peyton restrain himself long enough to sustain this? Can Peyton accept this new brand of football?
No. No. Sean Payton is a passing game guru, a passing game mastermind. Eventually, he's going to have to go back to his greatest strength. Jameis, okay, he Kyle Orton to win. That's been the game plan thus far, and that's fine. That'll be sufficient the next 2 weeks as we play the Giants in Washington. But that's not going to be enough in that brutal stretch after the bye to December 2nd. You got tough games coming. They're going to turn to shootouts. You got Bills, Seahawks, Cowboys, Buccaneers, just to name a few. We have a really tough schedule. And Jameis is going to have to go from that guy who's terrified of making a mistake to a quarterback of winning some games, or else clickbait may come. When you're doing something important like a job interview and you're just so focused on not making a mistake that you look tentative and nervous and skittish and you sweat and stutter, that's Jameis right now. Jameis needs to gain some of his confidence back. Not saying that he needs to go back to reckless Bucks Jameis, but think of a guy at the bar who's going to go home with the pretty lady, the confident Chris Simo or the nervous Nelly?
Yeah, George, I heard today that we are 31st in the league in passing, and the only team we're better than is the Chicago Bears, who Andy Dalton got hurt, and I think everyone's seen how piss poor their stats were this past weekend. I think they had 1 passing yard. So, yeah, you better believe that Sean Payton sees that and is like, this ain't me. This doesn't define me. I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get 5K Jameis back. But, Jay, I'm kind of with you on this is winning football for the 2021 Saints. Pump the run game. You got to play physical, though. As we saw 2 weeks ago, they got to play physical. Otherwise, it's a really ugly brand of football. But if they come out and establish the run like this, it can get dominant quickly. Now,
yeah, I didn't think it was dominant by any means on Sunday. You know, Jameis mentioned in his press conference today that that's what you have to do, establish the run and wear defenses down. But 31st in the league, and I think just hearing us talk here, we're a little bit spoiled, whether we recognize it or not, by watching Breeze all of these years and being 2-1 right now. I think the three of us, at least me, you know, I'm looking at it as, all right, this team can go as we are right now, 10-7, 11-6, which coming into the season, we'd all take that, right? But I think we all, the three of us, know that there's more potential there. And given that we've been in that position for years in the past now, we still look at it as, let's get to the Super Bowl. Let's win the Super Bowl. And I'm not confident right now. And I know I'm being a little bit impatient, but he's such an easy guy to root for, the redemption story, everything. But how do you pass for less than 150 yards in the first 3 games? I know the receivers are banged up. I'm hoping that it's a lot better when Eric McCoy comes back and you get a healthy Teron Armstead. You just hold on until then. But it's clear what George was saying. There needs to be a happy medium between Sean Payton breathing down his neck and the guy that threw 30 interceptions in Tampa. And hopefully that's something that he can get to sooner or later, where he's letting it rip. If you see the guys like Deuce Wyndham with their breakdowns in the videos of guys like Marquez Callaway on a crossing pattern running open, and he doesn't trust himself enough to deliver that football. And that's where we have to get to. And if we continue to see this 6-7 weeks in, is it worth making a change to Taysom? Or even if Taysom's too valuable to leave on offense, even a guy like Trevor Siemian or even a guy like Ian Book, see what he has. And I know that's crazy and out there.
Whoa.
Well, I'm just saying,
Jay, that is not your role. You're supposed to be the practical one.
Listen, guys, you've thrown for 400 yards in your first 3 games. Is a rookie going to do worse? I mean,
7 touchdowns, though. 7 touchdowns. So, look, Jay.
How many first downs? You know, like I don't have a lot of faith that there's a lot of drives like the last one that was critical in the Patriots game, where you're going to string first downs together. I just haven't seen a lot of that.
Well, I think we're still developing. I mean, hey, man, you started off that rant with, we got to check our Drew Brees privilege here. But then you immediately turn the corner and say, we got to start holding Jameis accountable to some incredibly high standard. I think we got to understand that we're on a growth here. We're on a growth path, and this past week was an improvement. But yes, you are 100% spot on with the fact that it is clear that he does not have the right level of confidence right now. He is definitely thinking in the back of his mind, don't throw a pick, don't throw a pick, don't throw a pick. Yeah, we do need to trust in Sean Payton, but George, Jameis has got all the trust in God, like on that touchdown throw to Marquez Callaway, baby.
One more thing, Ron. One more thing. I guess part of that is coming from like, all right, so if you don't trust the guy and he's going to throw for 120 yards, and what's your ceiling? Like what did Trent Dilfer do when the Ravens won the Super Bowl? Like, was his production similar to what Jameis is? Was Peyton Manning in his last year with the neck injury with the Broncos, with Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, was his production similar? And if the defense isn't at that level and your ceiling is 10-7 and you're going home in the first round, why don't we give a guy like Book a chance who could be that guy? And that way you're not spending. I know.
It's a big. I think it's like that book, Doctors Mary's Monkey. They go A, B, and C is true, therefore Z. Wait. Let's go back. You just gloss over clickbait. Clickbait was almost our quarterback. It was a neck and neck battle. I don't know why we think all of a sudden that we just gloss. Clickbait is an option. Clickbait won in his starts as a Saint, And in his 3 games versus Jameis's 3 games, clickbait looked a whole lot better. And don't use that Broncos game when they didn't have a quarterback against clickbait, because they just truly didn't want to make any mistakes. Let the Broncos make all the mistakes. But I think in time Book could be good. I don't really have much faith in Trevor Siemian. He's just an emergency camp arm. But clickbait could be that guy. That's the guy who's coming in as his role as a closer, because Sean Payton is seeing, okay, the defenses are wearing out, and he wants to add, when they're all worn out, he throws out clickbait to put out that knockout punch at the end rounds of the game. But you might just start seeing that earlier and earlier in the game, because Sean Payton's getting so frustrated and everything that Jay just said on Jameis's inability to move the ball downfield. And eventually Sean Payton, remember how he used to get so frustrated and getting binge Drew Brees mode, where you would think, run the ball, but he just couldn't help himself because he has so much faith in his passing attack. Well, that he's going to need to see that from one of these quarterbacks. And if Jameis isn't the guy, look for clickbait.
Wow, really painting a doom and gloom picture here, if I may say. First
No,
off,
it's
we're
outside of
2-1.
the box. It's tin hat. I know I got off. Just something I've been thinking about this week. Just need better production at that position if they're going to win a championship.
Ron,
Ron,
you made the argument for yourself there when you cited quarterbacks like Trent Dilfer, Kerry Collins, these types that have taken good defenses to the Super Bowl. Jameis is fully capable of doing that. I think
Ron, we're not winning.
100% match that level of production.
We're not winning because of Jameis. We're winning despite of Jameis. Jameis is not playing good quarterback. Yes, Ron, that's not my take. Look at the football nerds. Look at what the PFF. Look at what the guys are saying about Jameis. This is not good quarterback play. I'm not trying to. I feel like you're sugarcoating. It's a great story. The man of God. He has all these great comments, and you love him. I love him. I root for him. He's the best guy you've ever seen in the locker room. I have all the love in the world for him. It's like Marcus Thornton all over again. But you can't really say he's playing good quarterback.
I'm not saying he's playing bad quarterback, I guess is what I'm saying. Y'all are making it seem like the guy should be benched tomorrow, and he has definitely not played like he needs to be benched. So I guess that's where I'm standing in the way here, saying, no, this is not a crisis yet. Like, the guy had one dud of a game, and then this past week was a road game against Bill Belichick that we managed a victory. Yeah, we had a lull there in the middle of the game, but yeah, when the offense was called upon to put together a clock-killing drive, did they call in Taysom a lot more for some scheduled runs? Yeah, but this offense did it when they needed to, and it starts with the run game. Just because we're a run-first team doesn't mean Jameis is not the guy, I guess is what I'm saying. So, yeah, I don't know. It's week 4, all right? So let's see what Jameis does in his first real home game here with the home crowd behind him. At least, I don't know about y'all two. I'll be behind him. I don't know. So, yeah, I just don't.
I love him, Ron. I love him. I don't want to sound.
Criticism. We're still talking about our boy Jameis here.
We're rooting for him. That's a different thing. I'm rooting for him. I
want him to do well.
We just need to see more. On these 3rd and 10s, like, I know the game plan is for him to be conservative, but there are times even in those game plans for him to actually attack downfield. And he needs to get he just needs to do more in that realm for us to gain confidence and optimism around him. At least for me.
Well, look, if we're going to continue this, I would just like to make a few excuses for him. Like, I don't know, maybe the fact that he's throwing to guys named Ty Montgomery, Chris Hogan, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Adam Troutman, who is playing very underwhelming football right now, and tight end convert Juwan Johnson. And we have not really used Alvin Kamara out the backfield as much as we should. They found him for that wide open touchdown this week. But yeah, look at the weapons. So I can give him a little bit of the doubt, a little benefit of the doubt when he's looking downfield, getting a little happy feet, pumping, and nobody's open. So yeah, I think the windows are tight. I think he'll get his confidence back up. He'll start hitting those windows. Is that going to come with maybe some mistakes? Yeah, that's part of it. but you got to take risks to move the ball downfield. So
Ron, can we? I think we're all. I think Jay and I might be pessimistic, and then you're optimistic about the future of Jameis. But you do a great job of controlling. And I actually have in my notes here. I have asked Ron a question because this is a crazy question, but then it's really not. Ortiz is regressing. He's not looking good this year.
Ruiz.
Oh, what did I say? Ruiz. Sorry. Ortiz is regressing. He's not looking good this year. And this guy, Calvin Throckmorton, that came in as a UDFA last year, has looked significantly better than him. Sean Payton always says, it doesn't matter how you got here. We're playing the best man up. Is it really all that crazy to start Throckmorton and bench Ruiz?
It is all that crazy. And I get what you were saying about Sean Payton saying, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter how you got here. That's an easy mantra to have when it's 2006. You're the first, it's your first year on the job and you've got to build a winner. So, yeah, you're trying to motivate guys to fight as hard as they can for you as the new coach and giving everybody an equal opportunity. But fast forward 15 years, this guy is fiscally, emotionally invested to these draft picks. These are now his guys. Whereas, when you inherit the team, they're not your guys. And it's easy to make a statement like that. So I think that could be a little bit of lip service now in the life of Sean Payton and just where we're at in his tenure. That, yeah, Ruiz is a first-round draft pick. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt over Throckmorton 7 days of the week. So it would take a lot, and they've been inconsistent, right? Week 2, turnstiles. Week 3, pretty good. You could argue Ramczyk had a pretty bad game this past week, but yeah, when McCoy comes back, Ruiz is sliding right back, and what you got in Throckmorton now, and so that's nice. It's nice to have a qualified spare sitting on the shelf.
I think Ruiz was thrown off too when he had to move to center, not to make excuses for him. And Throckmorton, you say significantly better. The whole offensive line was abysmal in that Carolina game. Ruiz and Throckmorton did well in the Green Bay game. Now, say what you want about the New England game, but I think Ruiz is going to be a whole lot better off when it is the way it's supposed to be, and they prepared it to be with McCoy at center and slide Ruiz back over to guard.
All right. So, look, I know we belabored this a lot. So I'll hit these questions and y'all can spend the time that y'all want on them here. So, Jay, I'll give you the one from Ronnie Haybigs here. Is it possible to get a good evaluation after 3 weeks, or are we putting this way under the microscope? And also consider the fact that, much to what I pointed out, we're still without Michael Thomas and Traquan Smith, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Is it a fair assessment after 3 weeks on Jameis?
No, I think we have an idea. We have better of an idea than when the season started, obviously. But Rob, you just mentioned a multitude of reasons why it's unfair, and I agree. You give them the benefit of the doubt, and I think as big as those receivers are, especially Michael Thomas coming back, it's as crucial that he's playing behind the line that we all thought that he'd play behind, and not guys named Throckmorton and Ruiz at center and Hurst at left tackle, because he doesn't look like a guy that's too confident back there at this point. So I wouldn't say through 3 weeks it's a fair assessment. But I will also add that I'm not very encouraged after seeing his play after 3 weeks, but we need to give him more time.
All right. So, yeah, that dovetails really well into Yancey's question here about should we be worried about the passing game production, which, we just sat there and cited Super Bowl winning teams that had this kind of business model where they're going to be physical, play great defense, run the football, don't turn it over. Now that last one's obviously a key caveat with Taysom, but yeah, our boy Yancey Gardner Johnson, George, wondering, should we be worried about this? So I'll rephrase that since we've kind of covered this. George, do you think this is sustainable for the rest of the season, this kind of business model?
I mean, so it goes back to expectations. If you want to just make the playoffs, then it could probably get us to the playoffs as a wild card. If you want to truly contend, then you need to be better at all four phases. Run defense, pass protection, your own passing attack, and your own running game. And I feel like we're 3 out of 4. And if we're 4 out of 4, then we're contending with the Rams and the Buccaneers and the Cardinals and the top tier of the NFC. But until we get a true passing attack, I feel like we are stuck in that next tier of good NFC teams with the Packers and Seahawks and us, where very talented, but clearly having holes.
Yeah, okay. I could see an analogy here, and y'all tell me if I'm way off here. Like a Tennessee Titans from a couple of years back that make the AFC Championship. Instead of Derrick Henry, though, we have Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I'd take Tannehill over what I've seen from Jameis, but I think that's a big comparison.
All right.
Ron,
Okay.
I don't know
right,
why.
All right. Well, then
I don't know what
even.
you're seeing.
Then I'm seeing a team that's 2-1. I'm seeing a quarterback that is timid right now. I think we're all
extremely timid.
Yeah, we're all seeing that. Okay. But I also see game plans that are not necessarily setting him up with the easiest of throws to move the ball downfield. So that's also what I'm seeing. I would say we saw that in week 1, and we have not really seen that in 2 and 3. I'll be interested to see what the play calling looks like here in 4. So that's also what I'm seeing. So I don't even know why I'm going to ask.
Explosion in the Superdome on Sunday.
What's that, Jay?
I said I think we're ready for an offensive explosion in the Superdome on Sunday.
Hey, the Giants normally bring it out of us. It's usually just a touchdown fest when we play the Giants, but that was Breeze era. This is Jameis era. So I don't even know why I'm going to ask this next question after I just got that response out of Jay. So I'll flip it back to you, George. Bronco and over here. At this point on this team, given this personnel, these game plans that we've seen, would you take Teddy Bridgewater over Jameis right now?
Yeah, man, Teddy's looked really good. They've played the 3 worst teams. The Broncos are 3-0, and Teddy has looked really, really good. That's a no-brainer. Teddy Bridgewater. But let me just reiterate, Ron. I'm rooting for Jameis. I want him to do well. I'm hoping he does well. It's different from hoping versus expecting.
You're hedging your bets. Understood. You're hedging your bets.
We've talked about Jameis more than the national media has talked about Belichick and Brady this week. It's impressive.
This ain't a Pats podcast, bro. All right. So, look, I don't think we gave that defense enough credit. George, it was like night and day from the 2 weeks where, you have to say that it really comes down to health, right? I mean, the secondary, getting Lattimore back. I mean, can we just highlight the fact that he caught an interception with a cast on his thumb? I mean, that right there, I mean, you talk about like Saints DBs normally drop those 10 times out of 10, right? But we're catching them now. And we did get some bounces this past week. I don't think anybody could argue that Jonnu Smith might have been shaving points on this game. I don't know. Seemed like he was just doing us a lot of favors this past weekend. Couldn't catch a cold out there, and that's in Foxborough. So, but
Ron, not only his interceptions, but I think Lattimore's willingness to tackle with a broken hand coming up there and laying the hammer down. Most corners don't even do that when they're fully healthy. And Adebo seems like he's followed suit as well with how physical he is. And I don't know. I just love Paulson Adebo. I think he, if you're nitpicking, maybe he gets a little handsy sometimes, but cornerback, you know how hard it is to find good cornerbacks. And for this guy who didn't play football last year at Stanford, to be a third-round pick and to come in day one, and the fact that we're not highlighting him in a negative way is just a huge plus to this team, and more credit to Jeff Ireland for doing such a dynamite job in the middle rounds of drafts like they've done, the last 5-10 years especially. And I thought Pete Werner, who was playing over Zach Bond, he looked loose out there and looked like he excelled in pass coverage. He should be fun to watch going down the stretch as well.
I was just about to chime in on that, Jay, that it was very blatant that Pete Werner was getting the snaps over our boy Zach Bond, and even Caden Ellis getting in there. But George, we have to talk more about Demario Davis. I mean, this was just another one where he just looks like he's at another speed out there, huh?
He looked like me playing with a bunch of fifth graders, which is my favorite Sunday afternoon activity. It's a shame that he's not more of a household name in NFL communities, because he truly is playing linebacker at the best level we've seen in our lifetime. We're a bit young for the Dome Patrol. It is so fun and phenomenal, and I wish he got more league-wide, nationwide, worldwide, intergalactic recognition for it.
Well, he's already been All-Pro once, I think. So, I mean, he keeps this up. I mean, he could be a 2-time All-Pro linebacker. So I think that pretty much gets you into the household names, at least in a lot of circles there. But, yeah, the tackles for loss, I mean, we're getting plenty of – I don't know what you call them. Are they Street Fighter Hadoukens, or is it like a Dragon Ball Z thing? Do y'all know? We might have to put that out to the fans. I don't know. But, yeah, plenty of tackles for loss. The D-line, I don't know what the difference was. I don't know if they got a fire lit under them this week, if the matchups were right, but they were definitely getting the pressure a little bit better on Mac Jones this week, forcing some throws off his timing that he'd like. And I'm just really encouraged for when Onyemata comes back. I feel like this could be a really good example of guys getting some playing time, getting some snap time, having some early success. And then you add a piece like David Onyemata to that. I mean, yeah, George, I know you got on me about not having Trey Hendrickson on this roster, but you called it in your first segment there. Our boy, and I looked this up, you said, hey, this guy's playing good enough that we got to learn this guy's name. I Googled it. It appears that the pronunciation is Tano Passanio. So we'll work on that one. Our boy Tano. But
Ron,
yeah.
does he have 3 sacks? Is that right?
I think he's up to 2.5.
Two
2.5.
Two.
Wow.
Final answer.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because T-Rex is at 2.5, isn't he?
Yeah, not that we're keeping score on that, but no, he missed the second game. But he just looks so phenomenal. He's got such great athleticism that normally guys that have the build don't actually follow through with it. But there are those Justin Tucks, Jason Pierre-Pauls that actually do. But guys, I know our defense is good, but we got to start building excitement for the Giants game. This is going to be the rowdiest atmosphere we've seen in over a year. It's a joke because we've been together in over a year properly. So let's start transitioning to the Giants game and just the excitement that's going to come around that. And maybe the best way to start building the excitement is our very first UTO promotion by our DJ, Doug the Slug.
Oh, bro, we back. UTO. 634 days ago, we were under that beautiful bridge. But this Sunday, we'll be back. Expecting about 5,000-6,000 people. Bring your sons, bring your daughters, bring your mothers, bring your fathers. Don't bring your ice chests. You will not need them. Never have, never will. Galvez and Poydras. See y'all there.
Wow. If you're not fired up to come under the overpass after that, I don't even know. Baldwin wants to know over, under 3.5 girls. I'm pounding the over. In fact, wait, that was a terrible pun. I'm going with the over. I'm going with the over. We'll keep that. Keep that in. Yeah, that's good.
I kind of found that question to be very genderphobic by Baldwin, and I'm not really sure why he's so concerned about people's genders. But Ron, if you want to put 50 on the under, I'll take the under.
Yeah,
we're going full Ron UTO,
Oh,
and you can't go grab a gang of girls to bring him to win the bet. It's going to be 0.00 girls UTO.
One.
Wow. Okay, ladies, come on. Let's respond to this appropriately. Let's make it out there. Come on, it's home opener, baby. UTO. Look,
we're gonna be pounding the over 3 girls that we have.
All right. Hey, Sweaters wants to know what's the preference under the overpass. So, Jay, we going hard seltzers or we going beers? What's the preference this week?
Boogie's gonna have Dasani, LaCroix. I'm sure there's gonna be some seltzers out there, some Bud Lights, Coors Lights, your light beers. But it should be fun to get the Rons back together. It's been too long. It was weird playing in front of that empty Superdome. And Ron, it is interesting looking at it, all of the seats that are available on SeatGeek and the low prices. And I'm trying to rack my brain to think why that is. Are some people just scared of crowds? Is it the noon kickoff? Is it post breeze? Is it the vaccine thing?
Is it that 8 p.m. Auburn game the night before?
Maybe it's a combination of all those things, but you would think
the mask mandate.
Yeah, you would think this would be a pretty hot ticket, but seems like it's the most reasonably priced on the secondary websites as there's been in years.
Well, we don't want that to let get the fans down. But let's talk about getting the players motivated. No. I mean, look, Jay. No, you highlight great factors of all the things working against it being just a crazy atmosphere, reopening of the dome per se. First time at full capacity in 2 years. But yeah, there are a lot of factors working against it. But Sean Payton's got to be channeling that energy, and maybe he hadn't been outspoken enough. There's. Maybe he's saving them. He doesn't do this all the time, right? But I can remember playoff games where he makes it a point. He's very explicit in interviews saying, yeah, we're going to need that crowd noise this week. We're going to need you to be loud early in the play clock. Those kinds of call outs. And I don't know. But Sean Payton, master motivator, right? He's going to have this team fired up, and you better believe he's motivating them with the fact that you're going into your home crowd. They're going to be completely insane, raucous environment. George, what's going to be the motivation tactic? Is he going to go really over the top? He's done some crazy things before, right? He's rolled out the cash bonus for the playoff games. Is he going to get some of the ashes maybe off the dome roof, sprinkle them on the football, give him one of those, hey, are we going to rise up from these ashes? Is he going to give us something like that this week?
No, you weirdo. You didn't need to do anything like that, dude. We're all having a Ron Union. The name of the episode.
Told you not to have third beer.
Yeah, that's weird, dude. No, man. We're going to cut up. We're all going to get back together. It's going to be like Mardi Gras in there. It'll be our first time, after Ida, everyone partying and first time in the dome. Sean Payton loves these marquee games.
Wait, the line from the reopening, the rebirth game against the Falcons. He had that line where he's like, this place used to be underwater, or no, it was the NFC Championship. This place used to be underwater. It's not wet anymore, or something like that. He's going to be holding that ball. This place used to be on fire. It's not on fire anymore.
Well, hey, we're all excited to see it. But Ron, what about the game itself? Any questions about that, or just about how many beers you're going to drink?
Okay. All right. Look, I'm a little excited. About this weekend. All right, big weekend. But yeah, I think we already highlighted all the things on the Saints side. So George, Jay, let's flip it over to the Giants, the opponent. I made a little blurb, said this team usually brings out the 40 burgers in us, but different team, right? Different era of Saints football here. But yeah, what should we be fearing about this team, Jay? I mean, Joe
Well, I
Judge
hope
gets smeared in the media, right?
Yeah, I haven't lived in New York in a couple years, but I would love to hear what my boy Mike Francesca on WFAN and Michael K up there have to say. Some of the best sports talk radio in the country up there, and they don't sugarcoat anything. But Joe Judge, interesting. You know, I from working in football, I've got to spend time around him personally. He's a nothing but a good guy, pleasant to be around. And interesting when he got to the Giants, he kind of took that Bill Belichick like approach. You know, if a guy drops a ball or something, he's got him running laps. And I think the biggest thing is, as a coach at any level, but especially the NFL, when you're coaching grown men and not 18 to 22-year-olds, ask Urban Meyer, you have to be genuine and treat them like professionals. I think it works for Belichick because that's who he is. But I think Judge, he's going to work as hard as Belichick. He's going to work as hard as anybody there is. But that shtick hasn't really worked for him. And in fairness to him, the Giants really weren't all that more successful with Pat Shurmur, with Ben McAdoo. And, you know, there's reports of ownership being extremely frustrated. And I think a lot of that has to do, unfortunately, it might have equally amount to do with the guy that's pulling the strings and Dave Gettleman. Unfortunately, they had the injury to Saquon Barkley last year, and he hasn't seemed to bounce back like the guy that he looked like he could be his rookie year, an all-world type Adrian Peterson, league of his own type running back. And it has appeared through 3 games that he's been a little bit skittish. And then Daniel Jones, unfortunately, you know, he hasn't panned out either. He's had a tough time behind that patched offensive line there. They haven't really gotten a solid offensive line in front of them. But with that said, they've been in at least 2 games to the very end, and they've got a lot of names there, a lot of good individual players there. Their defense has kept them in games. They got Bradbury, who played at Carolina, who's a really capable cornerback. Jabril Peppers back at safety is a playmaker. Logan Ryan, who's been around the league for a long time. So, you know, I think it's a team that I know well from my time up there and having known some people that have worked there. So I follow them closely, and it's a really solid organization that I pull for. Obviously not this week, but you know, they've had their fair share of issues. Daniel Jones is a guy that I evaluated in college that we played against at Army. Can run through the deep ball really well, but it seems like at times that the bright lights have been a little bright for Daniel. As my friend Jeff from down under in Australia would say, he can't handle the bright lights. But hopefully he turns that around. But not this week against the Who-Dats.
Yeah, Jay, great insight there from behind enemy lines. Love to get that. But yeah, clearly the Joe Judge message, it ain't working so far this season. 0-3 start. So I don't know if that's the message not resonating with the players or if they just don't have the talent level to win these games. But I mean, when you're losing to the Falcons, I'm thinking it's not a matter of a talent. So, you know.
Yeah, the other thing, Ron, I forgot to mention too is Jason Garrett, who everybody knows from the Cowboys, is now calling the offensive plays for the Giants, and he's been under heavy heat in his play calling very predictable. That Thursday night game against the Washington football team a couple weeks ago, they had the big turnover within 2 minutes left in the game, I think, and they went run, pass, like the most conservative play calling there is. Ended up making the field goal but losing the game. So that's something else that hasn't worked out for them this year.
Yeah, so I think just our guts are telling us that, yeah, this is a pretty winnable game. You got a bad team with a coach that his message may not be resonating with the players. They might not have the right quarterback. I don't know. According to y'all, we might not have the right quarterback. But George, Chuba Barrios wants to know, are the Saints going to fall into the trap this week? Known to play up to great competition, but this is what we're calling bad competition. Are they going to go down to this team?
No. Ron, these are the type of games that Sean Payton lives for. These are the type of games that make a New Orleans Saints fan fun. These marquee games, like the fun Monday Night Football games, those Drew Brees record-breaking games, the return to the Dome. It won't be on the Atlanta Falcons, Steve Gleason, memorability and just how fantastic. It won't be at that tier, but it'll be close to it. And when the Dome's rocking like that, it is too steep of an uphill battle for the opponent to win, especially a guy like David Jones. Everyone keeps saying David Jones so conservative. I don't see him that way. That's his reputation. Oh my God, making all these errors. Daniel Jones. They say his
starting to be your
reputation.
shtick there.
Well, it's late at night, man. You kept us up late. I go to bed this early. But I'm not blaming you, Ron.
Ortiz? No.
Oh my God.
No, it's Rutiz, bro.
Well, you guys hit the mute button. I got a spiel here. So Jones, Daniel, or David, he has got this reputation of being ultra conservative. But when you watch these Giants games, it's like he does these flashy, heroic plays, makes an incredible throw, runs over Grady Jarrett on a 2-point conversion, and you're like, man, this guy's phenomenal. But then when you watch him on first and second down, he's missing all those Drew Brees type routine plays, those quick screens, those little pop passes to Evan Ingram. And like before you know it, it's third and long. He's really, really bad on, those very customary plays, but he'll make a spectacular play to just do enough to keep his job.
And can I say one thing, Ron? Can I say
one thing?
I'm sick of hearing about these quote-unquote trap games. The Saints in the last 3 years under Sean Payton, I believe, stat Ron, Washington, D.C., it's like you're getting married or something. We've been missing you on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the Saints have had the highest winning percentage in the regular season the last 3 years. All right? 2-1 Bengals going against the 0-3 Jaguars tonight. If you don't bring it every week in the NFL, which is cliche, but it's true, then you're going to get punched right in the face. And Jaguars started up 14-0. The Saints aren't good enough team where they can spot anybody 2-3 touchdowns or bring their C- game and expect to win. I mean, see 2 weeks ago against Carolina and Sam Darnold.
Well, Carolina might be legit, so we'll see. But you're absolutely spot on, Jay. This is not a team built to come from behind, especially not multiple possessions. It's definitely control the clock, control the game, stay on schedule with the run game, and be methodical with it. So, okay, given that, Jay, knowing that you got to bring the A game every week, we have not yet shouted out the newest Ron in the Ron Nation here of our Hoodats. Our boy Hudson Kaliva, he's asking with his first words, he's asking, what is the ceiling for this team? Is this a championship level D?
Oh, well, I love the segue going from the New York Giants to Hudson Kaliva on the Upper East Side in the penthouse up there. Daddy's treating them well. And Mama, shout out to Megan. Is it a championship D? No. Is it a D that can bring you to the playoffs? Absolutely. But, you've got an elite secondary, you've got an elite linebacker in Demario Davis, but I don't think you have enough firepower throughout. You don't have DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, you don't have Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Can it be a top 3 defense in the NFL this year? Yes. Is it championship level? No. Not with how our offense is playing. The offense would have to play a whole lot better, not just a tad better, in order for the Saints to reach a Super Bowl.
Well, okay, I want to hear George's thoughts on that. And George, I want to clarify, with a healthy Davenport and Onyemata back, do you feel like this is a championship level D?
I mean, think of the quarterbacks that you named earlier to bring their teams to Super Bowls because of bad play. You know, that was the Von Miller Broncos. That was the Warren Sapp Buccaneers. That's the Ray Lewis Ravens. We're not at that level, so no. We're going to need better quarterback play to actually Super Bowl contend.
Okay, all right. There you go, Hudson. Love you, babe.
Ron, curious for your opinion.
I think it has the potential. Anytime you're in the top 3 of the league, I think that is the potential to have a championship D. And, you know, I think y'all were instantly looking at the offense of why the defense is not a championship level defense. I'm only talking about the defense when I say that if they bring that kind of physicality and they're being this opportunistic with the turnovers and we're getting this kind of pressure and the linebackers are flying around like they are, I think absolutely this is championship level D. So, but it all is dependent upon us being fully healthy, because while we have some depth, it's just there's a big drop off between the starters on this defense and the next guys up. So, all right, George, what about your thoughts? You know, what do you think about the secondary matching up with these wide receivers this week? I can tell you my fantasy team is telling me that Sterling Shepard's got a hamstring injury, but I wanted to hear your
they're
thoughts.
all banged up. Slayton Galladay, Sterling Shepard, who has the same year every year, where early in the year he pops off with a great long touchdown, some highlight reels, and then he just gets hurt for 8 weeks. So, no, I'm not worried about their 4th and 5th and 6th string wide receivers against Paulson and Debo. Ron, how about Paulson and Debo laying the wood? I had to check that number. I was like, is that Von Bell? Is that Roman Harper? No, Paulson and Debo. No, Ron, I got faith in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Lattimore and Malcolm Jenkins and Marcus Williams, who we don't give enough props to, too. You say, hey, we don't give enough props to Demario Davis. How about Marcus Williams shining back there? You know, we should really start recognizing that expert free safety play that we're seeing nowadays.
No, we have to start recognizing it. One, you know, it's great to have, you know, the leadership. I know rocked the boat a lot, Malcolm Jenkins when he first got in with Breeze, but it's good to have him back. But yeah, Marcus Williams has been really great. I mean, there's not a whole lot more you can say. The guy is, you know what it reminds me of, Jay? It honestly reminds me of his college tape. I mean, and we got so excited about that tape when we drafted him and said, man, look at this guy. He's so aggressive. Looks like he's always coming down on these plays, downhill on these plays on the ball. And yeah, he looks like that same guy on that Utah tape. And I'm excited to see it. I mean, it's so just refreshing. I don't even know if it's refreshing. I mean, we've never had this feeling before where you've got all these draft picks in the secondary that have all hit. It's just
a little bit like spoiled milk with Marcus Williams, though. You know, after the Minnesota Miracle, and I know that's a Ron take right there. Not you, Ron, just Ron's in general. But God, just the PTSD. But no, the guy deserves his due. He's played really well. And CJGJ, I mean, he doesn't. I feel like he's more famous countrywide, league-wide for his smack talk and what he brings from that. But I think what he brings from a Trey Hendrickson, another sack, Trevor Lawrence, what he brings from a playmaking standpoint, and then
Holding Von Bell.
lifting the team up around him. I mean, is there a category for nickelbacks, George? How does he rank on PFF among nickelbacks?
Oh, him and Fitzpatrick are the best. And then PJ is not bad at it. But, guys, I know we don't want to get distracted here, but T-Rex had the sack, but it was negated because Von Bell held Dan Arnold. Isn't that hysterical? Dan Arnold, Von Bell, and T-Rex all in the same play.
They got Eli Apple, too. It's like,
I know.
They got Apple.
I love all these old names. But, Ron, don't get so distracted. We got to get back to the Giants. And Jay had a good point about Saquon Barkley because, that rookie year, he looked as good as a running back as we've ever seen. Just so powerful, his huge legs. It just ran like a horse's legs. And he clearly lost his giddy up. Yet, it seems like the Giants just don't want to admit it. And they keep feeding the ball to him. But he really, at a young age, is starting to really look broken down and just a bit stiff, which is just, it's a shame to see, but you're happy to see it when you're going up against it.
No, wait, George, you just sparked something in my memory there. Speaking of not looking the same and whatnot, we talked about this before. We said, hey, wait, Taysom had to slim down a little bit for quarterback, and we were questioning whether that was going to change his his style of play on those quarterback power runs. And I just want to point this out because it just caught my eye. That one big run that he had on that final drive where he goes for the leap over the guy, and I think it was McCourty, and it worked great. Now, of course, you leave your feet, then somebody comes and smashes you into the turf. But I just thought about that. I was like, wait, that was so un-Taysom-like. And it made me think maybe there is some stock to be put into that argument of he's like 10, 15 pounds lighter. Is he not bringing the wood like he would have? I don't know. So there was something there that I just thought, okay, I'm going to use that as a little data point, a little observation note that he went for the leap instead of what he would normally do is just throw the shoulder into that guy. So, I just brought that up because I know Barkley's, coming off the injury and everybody's saying, hey, I think the quads might be down from 32-inch diameter to maybe 28. I don't know. But I'm not worried. I think this defense is going to plug them up. And you know how it goes, right? You got to get those guys before they get rolling. So, Jay, problems with mute? Can't get off mute? Oh, we got technical difficulties with Jay. All right. Well, George, let's just carry on. Do we have any other factors to cover about this New York Giants game, or do we need to just start hyping up the weather surrounding this Sunday?
I couldn't imagine anything more important than the weather. So let's turn it to our resident weatherman and co-owner, Red, the weatherman.
Hey Rons, it's Red, the weatherman. And it is week 4 in the NFL as the 2-1 New Orleans Saints stay at home to take on the 0-3 New York Giants for a 12 o'clock kickoff in the Caesars Superdome. Anyway, Rons, let's get right on over to the weather, as I know you'll be tailgating bright and early. With a high of 83 degrees, it's going to feel more like 86 degrees. And I expect a thick cloud coverage, but only a 30% chance of rain. You can leave the rain jackets at home. With a southwest wind of 7 to 10 miles per hour, I expect these tailgating conditions to be ideal, Rons. Now let's get on into the Superdome. Oh yeah, that's right, we play inside. I expect the conditions inside the dome at kickoff to be a crispy 69 degrees. Anyway, Rons, remember one thing. Whether you like it or not, it's Red, the weatherman.
All right, weatherman Red, we appreciate that report. Can't wait for Sunday. And look, shout you out, baby. Got your fan question right here. Do we need to wear a face mask under the overpass? Come on, man. You want to be breathing that fresh air through that filter? No filter on this Instagram post. Let's go, baby. And your second question here, George, tell the man, where's Newman and Baldwin tailgating?
They're going to be in effervescence, eating quiches. It's rough out there. You got the Godfather's bones buried under those rocks. You got loud, vulgar music. You know, you have bagged beer. It's a jungle out there. It's not made for everybody. You have to have thick skin, but you know who will be UTO come Sunday morning.
You know. All right.
Where can I find Topo Chico and lime?
All right, let's go to the game predictions. All right, so I think we're fairly close last week. I don't know. I think everybody picked a winner. So Jay, we'll kick it off with you. Let's get that score prediction for this weekend.
I think it's a desperate Giants team that needs a win. I think they're going to come in here, and it's going to be a tough day for Saints fans. I'm going Giants 21, Saints 17.
Oh, my God. What?
Yeesh.
Are you kidding me? You think when we come back from Ida, you think in a year and a half of all of us not being together, we're going to lose? We've all been watching the Euros and seeing the British fans go nuts. We've all been seeing every other fan support their team in the stands, yet we've been on the sidelines. And you think we're going to come up short? You think we're going to lose, Jay? I can't have that. You know what we're going to do. We're going to come out strong. The defense might score more than the offense.
31-14. Let's go.
That's more like it. 31-14, Hoodats all the way.
All right, so wait, y'all both going 31-14?
I convinced them. Ron, you had a lot to drink at the family night Thursday night, and I'm glad that you had fun. But you've been all over the place. You've been disorganized. You're not the practical, old, reliable German train conductor that we're used to, but we're not going to hold it against you. We all have bad days. Not saying you're having a bad day per se, but you've been better organized. You missed a great question from Chris Johnson, a guy that I think Jay and him need to have a kumbaya because he's one of the few true Ron supporters we have out there. Our fan base is growing, and I appreciate it, guys. We all love you, and Ron shaved his belly for you. He'll do much more than that to gain your love and support. But look, Ron, CJ has a question, and give it to Jay so they can have a little breaking of the olive branch.
Yeah, no, I'm not the one that's all over the place, I'll have you know. Yeah, why don't we not round out score predictions and go to this random question? Okay, yeah, no, sure, man. It was 2 beers, all right? It was 2 beers. CJGJ wants to know, should we start a segment here for the outstanding defensive lineman, call it Latoya Destroya of the Week?
Yeah, sure, CJGJ. I mean, you're one of our most loyal listeners, stuck with us. We could use some more segments. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, George will nominate T-Rex every week. So,
Ron, what's your prediction on the score this week?
Oh, me? Oh, we're coming back to that. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So I'm a little surprised that both of y'all are going in the 30s after you just said how piss poor the offense was and how bad Jameis is. But
Deontay Harris, bro.
We're going with an Adebo, Deontay, and Lattimore touchdown. 31-40.
Deontay is going to score a touchdown Sunday, and Ron will take his shirt off to show all the Ronnies in attendance at Florida Lee.
That's the bet this week. From the point that Deontay scores a touchdown, Ron has to
take his shirt off. I'm sitting in 326. I'm sitting in 326 with Ron, so I will take his shirt off myself if needed.
So wait, it's if Deontay returns a kickoff?
No, any Deontay Harris touchdown.
No, come on. I mean, he's getting involved in the passing game this week. I think we all know that. Crowd.
I thought you were a fan. I thought you were a fan.
Special teams, Deontay touchdown.
27-10. The defense is suffocating, and Jameis leads them down the field to enough scores to win. I mean, that's the recipe. So it's 27.
Wow, Ron, you piggyback our 17-point margin there.
I can't even with y'all. All right. So we know what the weather's going to be. We know that we're hyped up for UTO. We got our final projections. Really, Ron's, there's nothing left. We given you all we had. Here.
I got
Nope.
one thing as well.
I got one thing. I'll pass it to you, Jay. So I know all of the Rons out there, you love that weather report. You know what to wear to the game before you go, and we love Red for that. And then we have Doug getting everybody riled up for what's going to happen Sunday before the game. So Doug, you already know we love Doug. But next week and the weeks beyond, we're going to have a segment from The Godfather who's going to give everything, sports gambling used to be taboo, but now it's becoming very legal and very out there for everybody and not so frowned upon. I don't know if it was frowned upon, but whatever. The Godfather is going to make you some money. He's going to tell you the lock of the week so you can go take that to Mississippi, double your money up, and he's excited to get involved. And Jay, what you got last and final?
Well, the last day of September as we move into October tomorrow also is International Podcasting Day. George, with this as your baby, I'd like you to say a couple things about the podcast and what it means to you.
Well, it's a big waste of time. I try to get it all organized, and Rob comes out late, comes out drunk to the show, and it really just gets it all derailed. So it really doesn't mean that much to me. But you know what means so much to me is my boy Whit. Happy birthday, Whit. And we have a congratulations to the nuptials, to Beatles. I don't know, Ron, if you know her. Do you know Kathleen Hillary? Ron, do you know Beatles? Beatle?
Never heard of her.
Wow. Okay, it's her wedding day. So it's her wedding weekend. So congratulations to Beetle. Congratulations and Big Comfy. We love you both. And of course, the podcast is everything because we love all we. It's just not me. I don't know why Jay tried to. I mean, of course, I think we all bring our own parts to the puzzle. Engines and hearts and steering wheels to the podcast. So I think we all deserve a pat on the back. It's not like we have that much success to begin with, but guys, it's not us, it's you. We appreciate it. We love you. We're doing big Sunday morning. We're gonna be a little hungover from the Beetle wedding, but that won't stop us for shining on Sunday. Ron, take us out.
Hey, don't forget to shout out Andrew on National Podcast Day, the guy that makes it happen. Rubber meeting the road. So, all right, y'all. A lot of criticism today. I don't know how I'm going out on this one, but I'm still pumped. Y'all can't get me down. UTO this Sunday. Pro Saints talk. We out here, baby.
We out here.
I don't like swimming. I just like chasing them big butt women. We gonna do that butt thing, kinda like that nookie thing. We gonna do that butt thing, yeah, we gonna make that butt swing.